What's going on, guys? Super Insane 18 here, and today I'm going to be bringing you one of the most requested videos as of late, and that is going to be an updated Mathmech deck profile. A lot has changed since the last Mathmech profile that I put out. We did get the new Firewall Defensor, as well as the ban list putting Circular to 1, so quite a bit has changed for the deck. Let's go ahead and show you guys the build. And before we get into it, I am going to throw this up on the screen. My artist has finally finished the art for our double-sided metal field center, so these are the finished products. This is what you will be getting on a metal field center. I'm going to be ordering my samples soon, that way I can show you guys the finished product. Make sure you guys are ready for the pre-order. It goes live on Friday, June 23rd, so make sure you guys are ready, and yeah, let's go ahead and jump on in. So, as I stated, a lot has changed since the last time I put out a profile for Mathmech, and the most prominent change of all is going to have to be Mathmech Circular at 1. Now, a lot of people thought that this was a devastating hit for the deck, but the way that I always saw it is we went down from 12 copies of Circular to 10 copies of Circular, because we lost 2 copies of Circular in name, but we still have 3 Small World, 3 Signet Mining, 3 Signet Defensor, or Firewall Defensor, so yeah, we still have a very large number of Circulars, so yeah, it's a little bit of a consistency hit, but at the end of the day, the deck is still just as consistent as ever, thanks to the addition of the new Firewall cards. We are on 2 copies of Mathmech Diameter. Now, Diameter is something that I was previously playing 3 of, and it was really hard to cut it down to 3 because it's just such a good card, but because we are not playing some of the other cards that we were playing, mainly Cyberus Wicked, and because of the fact that Circular is, even though it's still available relatively easily, it's not as available as it once was. I feel like Diameter can just go down. You need your normal summon for more important things, like the Firewall card, so you can't really risk your normal summon for the Diameter as much anymore, so gotta cut that down where we can. We are still on 2 copies of Sigma, just a really good card, 2 copies of Addition, and 2 copies of Subtraction. That is going to be the Mathmech Extenders, and then unfortunately there is 1 brick that you have to play with Mathmech, and that is going to be Mathmech Nabla. Now, the reason you have to play this card is because with the Firewall package, you only get 2 Mathmech names if you do the traditional combo, and 2 Mathmech names means that you're not able to really use your super factorials, so Nabla is what allows you to do that. What you're going to do is you're actually going to send it off your Circular. Circular is going to reborn it, and then Nabla contribute itself to summon out a Diameter from the deck, and that gives you 3 Mathmech names where you might only have 2 if you opened up with the Firewalls. Which, speaking of the Firewalls, we are on 3 copies of Firewall Defensor. This is the new card out of Syac, and for those of you that don't know, it is really strong. This one card on its own is full combo. Lets you search your Circular as part of the combo as well, because it gives you 2 level 4s to make your Alimbertian. Of course, the Alimbertian is going to be able to get the Circular, and then you just combo off from there. We have our 1 copy of Firewall Guardian. This is the brick that you need to play for the Defensor, because when you link away the Defensor, it summons the Guardian from the deck. Then when you link away the Guardian, Guardian reborns itself, so I'll show you guys that combo at the end of the video. We have 3 copies of Parallel Exceed, just the best Cyberus extender possible, not to mention because we play a relatively high hand trap count, in a brick scenario where you open just like a bunch of hand traps and a Parallel Exceed, you can still actually full combo thanks to something like Salamangreat Almirage, normal summoning something like, say, an Effect Veiler, linking it into Almirage, effective Parallel Exceed, summon itself in another copy. They're both 4s, go into Alimbertian, search your Circular, and full combo. We are on 1 copy of Archfiend Eccentric. I think that this card is mandatory. I've seen a lot of people not play it recently, but it is a phenomenal small world target, and it's really good for clearing problematic monsters or back row. It's a little less good than it used to be because we do rely on our normal summon a little more, so the ability to normal summon this isn't really that good, but the fact that it can be used in the Pendulum scale for a spell and trap removal, and being a small world target, I think that is definitely very important to run at 1, especially with the popularity of Labyrinth as of late. Then we have a couple of tributing monsters. We have a Santa Claus and a Kurikara Div Incarnate. Both of these are searchable via Small World, and both of them serve their own niches. Santa Claus is really good for the instances where you're going up against something like a Rise Heart Pass, or something that just has 1 really big threatening boss monster. Kurikara is more for the combo decks when they have a field full of interruptions. You just slap the Kurikara out the mall and swing for game. And that's going to be it for the monsters. Now we have our hand traps, and I do want to say that the hand trap lineup is just kind of under construction. I'm not sold on these ratios just yet, but here we go. We are are playing 2 copies of Droll and Lockbird. I think anybody cutting this card is incorrect. This card is still just absolutely crazy. You're able to do a lot of things, especially into something like Kashtira. A lot of times a Droll can really end their turn unless they open up like a 3-card combo. We are playing 2 copies of Effect Veiler, pretty self-explanatory, just monster effect negation. 2 copies of Ash Blossom, again, just the most generically used hand trap. 2 copies of Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill. This is really good because it can be used under D-Shifter, so you're able to do it against Kashtira if they shifter you. And then we have 2 copies of Nib, which personally I despise. I hate Nib. That might be a topic for a different video. I think Nib has never actually been good, but unfortunately for this deck, it is a very potent small world target. So yeah, definitely something to consider running here, but I just personally don't like Nib, but I understand its use. And that's going to be it for the monsters. Onto the spells. We have our 1 copy of Mathmech Equation. Pretty self-explanatory. It is a reborn that gives 1,000 attack. 9 times out of 10, the 1,000 attack doesn't matter. It's just another extender. 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. A lot of hand traps are running rampant this format, so you might as well be able to either draw 2 or look at your opponent's hand, or even in a going second scenario, use it to steal a very potent monster on your opponent's side of the field. We have our 3 copies of Signet Mining. This is our second, third, and 4th copy of Circular. We have 3 copies of Small World. This is the 5th, 6th, and 7th copy of Circular. And rounding out the deck at 40 cards, we have our 1 Super Factorial. This card is insane. It essentially lets you make a Trishula that has an Omni Negate attached to it, but that's one of the extra deck cards, so let's go ahead and show you guys the extra. The extra deck does have quite a few changes from the last profile that I showed you, so we'll go ahead and go over those as we run through them. We have our 2 copies of Alimbertion, as well as our 1 copy of Lablation. Now, Alimbertion, really, really good. It just searches any of your Mathmech cards for any 2 level 4s, and not just that, but it's really important for the new combo. You have to tribute it to summon back your Nabla from grave, but we'll show you that combo again, so stick around till the end. And the Lablation is what I was talking about with the Super Factorial. This card is essentially a Trishula, and if you have the diameter under it, it is a Trishula with an Omni Negate as well. Being able to just send cards from your opponent's hand and field, yeah, really, really strong. We have our 1 copy of Lingeribo and our 1 copy of Almirage. Lingeribo is actually really important as part of the combo now, and Almirage is just there for the brick scenarios with the hand traps and Parallel Exceed, like I went over a little earlier. We have our 1 copy of G-Golem Crystal Heart. This is just another way into an easy access code. You can reborn your transcode talker with this, so it's really, really strong, really, really potent. We have double copies of Splash Mage. This is in respect for Kashtira still. Obviously, even though they lost Mind Hacker, they are still able to rip cards out of your extra deck with Unicorn, so you want to make sure that you are doubling down on some of the more important pieces, which brings us to the 1 Update Jammer. This is another card that I still really want to run 2 of. For those of you that don't know, this card lets your access code attack twice, which is really important, and a lot of times what I did in the previous format was I ran 2, that way they couldn't rip both out and let my access code, because I'm running 2 access codes, spoiler, so they would look at, if you only had 1 of this, they would look at it and rip it out, that way your access can attack twice, keeping them alive for a turn, but now there's just not enough room, so I really, really wish I could run 2 of this. It's just there's really no space. We have our 1 copy of Decode Talker Heat Soul, still an incredible card, being able to pay and draw, and with the high hand trap count that we are playing, the ability to just draw into potential hand traps both on mine and my opponent's turn is very, very strong. We have our 1 Transcode Talker, followed by our 2 Access Code Talker. I still, again, respect Kashtira, so 2 Access Code is mandatory if you ask me, but even if Kashtira wasn't a thing, I would probably still run 2 Access Code, just because this deck can make it so easily, and sometimes you just can't clear out a game. You never know what your opponent has, so you might want a second Access Code later down the line, but not just that, absolutely nothing about Access Code is once per turn, so if they somehow manage to out your first one, you can just make a second, assuming you have the resources to do so, and go for game. Then we have the Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid Neo Tempest Terahertz. Quite a mouthful there. This is part of the new combo. You end on this, and because of this, you can essentially get a Spell and Trap Negate on top of the Super Factorial that you have. And not just that, you can do some other cool things, and it gains a lot of attack, so it's kind of like a third access code. You can get this thing up to 8k damage relatively easily. And then the final card in the extra deck is going to be the Cyberse D-Save Worm. This is what you send off of the Terahertz. When this is in the graveyard, it is a spell trap negate by banishing it, so let's go ahead and show you guys that combo. Alright, so as promised, here is going to be the new 1-card combo using the Firewall Defensor, and it ends you on quite a bit. It doesn't really look like much, but that's kind of the theme of Mathmech. When I first picked up the deck, I didn't think that it was really that good. Ending on Decode Heat Soul with the Super Factorial didn't really feel good, but then when I got to playing it, it was incredibly strong, and that's exactly what this is going to look like. But I promise you guys, it is an incredible end board. We are going to start things off by normal summoning out our Firewall Defensor and linking it away into our copy of Lingerybo. This is then going to activate the effect of Defensor to summon out our copy of Guardian from the deck. We can then take the Lingerybo and the Firewall Guardian and link them into our copy of Splash Mage. This is of course going to activate the Firewall Guardian effect, resummoning it to our side of the field because it was used to link for a Cyberse. We can then use the effect of Splash Mage to reborn our Defensor as well. And wouldn't you know it, that's 2 level 4s, meaning we can go ahead and overlay them into our copy of Alimbertion, which will of course activate on summon, detaching 2 cards to add any Mathmech card, and we are going to add our boy Circular, almost like he's not at 1. Now we get to get our Mathmech engine going. We can reveal the Circular and send the Nabla to our graveyard as cost. This is of course going to summon out our Mathmech Circular, and then we can use the effect of Alimbertion to tribute itself and reborn the Nabla. Here, this is going to activate the effect of Mathmech Circular to add our copy of Super Factorial. So now all we're missing is the 3rd name that we're able to summon off of this, but thankfully that is exactly what Nabla is able to do for us. We can go ahead and use Nabla to tribute itself. This will summon out our copy of Diameter from the deck. It's important that it is the Diameter because you want to make sure that the Laplation has an Omni Negate on it when you summon it off of the Super Factorial. We can now take the Circular and the Splash Mage, and this will allow us to go into our copy of Transcode Talker. The Transcode Talker is then going to be able to reborn our Splash Mage, and we can then take the Transcode Talker, the Splash Mage, and the Diameter, and link them into our copy of Terahertz. Here the Terahertz can use its effect to send the D-Save Worm from the deck to the graveyard, and then we would set our Super Factorial and pass our turn. Now for those of you that don't know, this also has another effect that prevents your opponent from using monster effects in the battle phase, so they can't just do something like out it with a Fenrir. It is now a 6,000, or what is it, a 5,500 attack monster that they can't get over. On our opponent's turn, we are able to activate the Super Factorial, of course targeting the Diameter, the Circular, and the Nabla, which will allow us to then immediately XYZ into our copy of Laplation. Now, we want to make sure that we timed this right, that way we can get the most out of our Laplation. We'll be able to get rid of 3 of our opponent's cards, as well as have an Omni Negate off the Laplation, and then we can't forget the Spell Trap Negate from the D-Save Worm. So yeah, that is 3-4 interruptions, possibly 5, and yeah, you still have 4 cards in hand with a very high chance that they are hand traps. And there you guys have it. That is going to be my post-Syac, post-ban list, updated Mathmech deck profile and combo tutorial. If you want more combos, there's only one way to let me know. Make sure to smash the hell out of that like button. That will let me know that you guys want another fully dedicated combo tutorial for this video. You guys know the deal. If you liked it, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment, share with your friends. Maybe consider supporting me on Patreon. Don't forget to check out the sponsor of my videos, Dueling Guard, using my code INSANE18 for 5% off your entire purchase. And remember, on June 23rd, my double-sided Metal Field Center will be releasing, so make sure you guys are ready for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.